Alright, so today we're going to be doing the miniature Hershey collection. So obviously anyone who's ever been to, been trick-or-treating, been to any function where there's a chocolate lover, you've probably had at least one of these. Today I'm going to give the definitive ranking as to which one is the best. And so we're going to be weighing the quality of each. Fix my hair. Usually I wear a hat. We're going to be ranking the quality of each based on their taste and their texture. So obviously everyone's had a chocolate that tastes really good, but it's gritty or melts in your hand. There's some sort of Achilles heel for the chocolate. We're going to be digging into what that is for the 4 different miniature Hershey's. There are the regular Hershey's milk chocolates. There are the special dark variety. That's a favorite of many of my friends. If I don't drop it first, the crackle bar. And of course my personal favorite, although I won't be biased in this, the Mr. Good bar. So, let's get into the review. So without further ado, we'll start with the classic, the Hershey's milk chocolate. So if I don't drop this one as well, looking at it, the packaging, it's quite nice. It's the Hershey's logo and milk chocolate kind of at an angle. It's cut off, kind of shows how small it is. So we will peel open the packaging. That nice sound. Don't know if it caught it in the mic. So here's what it looks like. This one looks like it's been a bit damaged in transit, but it has the Hershey's name inside the bar, and it looks to be about 1/4 of an inch thick of chocolate, so getting a decent amount. Does it have a ounceage? No, it does not. It's probably on the larger bag. So in my hand, it feels like chocolate, a little bit melty, but it's been at room temperature. This would be amazing if you froze it. Get it nice and cold. I'm a frozen chocolate connoisseur. So, let's get right into the taste test. So it does a weird thing of clinging to your teeth. Not a huge fan of that. So not sure why. Could be just that one. Could be the way I'm chewing it. Could be a number of things. The taste is actually quite nice. I am a chocolate fan. If you like just a good, rich chocolate, it's just Hershey's chocolate. Everyone's had Hershey's. If you haven't, go to the local convenience store, buy a bar. It's delicious. If I had to rank it in terms of chocolate, it's no Swiss chocolate, not even a German chocolate. It's just mass-produced chocolate. It's tasty. I would give it, based on taste, a 6.3, and I would give it, based on texture, about a 6.1. So about a 6.2 on average. Not bad. That's, a decently average score. I think it merits it quite well. Okay, so moving on, we are going to the Hershey's Special Dark. Now the difference between normal chocolate and dark chocolate is dark chocolate does not have the butter and the milk that is in normal chocolate. So it's more of a pure cocoa. So looking at the Hershey's packaging, it's just like the other ones, kind of cut off at an angle. It's the miniature bar. It looks appetizing. The packaging is pretty well intact considering it was in a large bulk bag. So let's get into it. Peels nicely. So just like the other ones, it has Hershey's as the name in the middle. However, if you can see that, it's very dark and it has a nice lustrous sheen to it. That could be obviously being more cocoa and cocoa based, the solids, the additives, the oil. It's probably why it's shiny. Feels very hard in my hand. It's not melting whatsoever, which is kind of nice. That'll probably net it a high score based on the texture. So let's get into the test. I'm going to say something. I'm not a huge dark chocolate guy. That's a good dark chocolate bar. It has a very sweet beginning, but it has a nice smooth finish to it. It's not as bitter as most dark chocolates. Sometimes you'll have a dark chocolate that's very much a punch in the mouth for no apparent reason. I don't know why anyone would want that. However, this one doesn't really have that. It does have a very hard texture to it. Obviously, there's less, milk and butter. Those things tend to make things a bit more chewy. However, it does melt nicely in my mouth when I chew it. Overall, it's excellent. Based on texture, I'm going to give it an 8.5. It didn't melt in my hand. That's incredible. Usually chocolate gets all over you, except for M&Ms, which were invented for that purpose for soldiers in the jungle during, I believe, World War II. So, based on taste, I'm going to give it, even though I'm not a dark chocolate guy, I'm going to give it a 7.5. It's a good C average. It's not a home run. It's not a strikeout. It's a good average dark chocolate. If you like dark chocolate, you're going to like this. I'm going to be a blimp by the end of this with all this chocolate. Next up, we have the Crackle Bar. Now, the Crackle Bar is sometimes called the redneck cousin of the Nestle Crunch. I'd have to agree with that based on my prior experiences, but maybe this one will change that moniker. So, nice red and yellow package. You can't really see the red in the camera. I don't have the best lighting right now. The packaging looks pretty decent. It's intact. So let's crack into it. Get that peel. Oh, this one didn't peel that well. Might have to be a negative score. So here it is. The front looks like any other Hershey chocolate bar. However, the back, you can see the Rice Krispies inside of it. Or I guess the Rice Flakes. What do they call it? Let's read it. Crisp Rice. So obviously it's just a Rice Krispie. So let's get into the taste. Well, first let's get into the texture. I guess we should do things in the correct order. So the feel is nice. It's very smudgy, the outside. So that tells me, you keep this in your hand for like a minute, it's probably going to be all over you. So maybe not the best to put in a pocket. The dark chocolate, obviously, you could probably do that. But this, not so much. The back feels kind of nice. It's different. It does rub off on your finger a little bit. I don't know if you can see that a little bit. But, the taste is more important, so let's get into that. That's good. It reminds me of those Easter candies you get with the crisp rice. Alright, sorry. We had a little bit of a Discord blow up for a second there. Some people are trying to play Face It on CS. So we'll get back into the Crackle review. Based on taste, it's excellent. The crisp rice gives a nice texture bonus to the milk chocolate, but it also provides a little contrast to flavor. You bite into the crisp rice, you can feel it on your teeth, and it gives it a little bit of a difference in flavor that's lacking in the milk chocolate. The milk chocolate is very homogeneous. This has a little bit of spice to it, which is nice to see. No one likes the same thing over and over again. This is a nice little addition. So based on the texture, I love the crisped rice, the crisped rice. For texture, I'm going to give it a 7.7. I think that's fair. It's not really, exceptional. It's not really good. It's high average. It could be good, depending on the bar you get, maybe if you're in the mood for it. But it's not a home run on itself, by itself. So, based on taste, the Nestle Crunch is good. This isn't as good. It does taste a lot better than the milk chocolate based on just its own. However, based on comparables, substitute goods, it's not as flavorful. So I'm going to have to give it a 7.1, a low C-. So now we're going to get into the final member of this video, the Mr. Good Bar. Now, as I said in the intro, this is one of my favorites for just a good chocolate bar. You can't find this in all gas stations, so it makes it a bit of a treat when you can. The extra large bar, holy moly, that's a sugar rush. But if you can find a good king-size bar, it's just enough chocolate to satisfy without making you feel sick. If you're looking for like a good snack while you're playing video games, while you're doing homework, some sort of incentive. So the packaging is a nice yellow with a red font saying this says Mr. Good, but normally says Mr. Good Bar. It's just to show how miniature it is. It's a good marketing tactic, you know, makes it different for Hershey. So we're going to open it up, and right away, it looks like the normal chocolate. This one's got a corner chipped out of it, but it looks like all the others. Hershey on the front. The back, you can see the peanut chunks, the cut up pieces in the back of it. This one's going to be a very nutty bar by the looks of it, which might be tasty. So it's peanuts inside of milk chocolate. So based on the texture, this one feels like it'd melt in my hand in like 30 seconds. So I'm probably going to get to the taste, probably juggle it a little bit because I don't want to have chocolatey fingers touching my camera and laptop. So texture is probably going to be quite a low score. But maybe the taste can compensate for that. So let's get into it. You know, this is one of those chocolate bars that reminds you of, like, you know, that time when you're in high school and you're finishing up your homework and someone says, let's go up to the gas station, let's go get a snack. And so you go get a candy bar. That's the kind of candy bar this is. This is a good, every once in a while, treat. It's tasty when you get it. Don't eat it every day. It won't be that good for just a daily snack. However, it's a very top-tier choice, despite its texture lackings. The texture score, it's going to be notably low just because it feels like it's going to melt in your hand, and also the peanuts tend to stick in my fillings, the gaps in my teeth too. Maybe most people won't have that problem, however I do. It also gets in the pocket between your teeth and your cheeks, toward your gums, and that's annoying. I'm trying to talk through it right now and work it out with my tongue. It looks really awkward. Don't do that in public because it looks really sus. So, based on the texture, I'm going to have to give it a flat 5. It's, you know, it's not worth, if you're looking for something based on texture, don't get a Mr. Good Bar. It's going to melt. If you need something to put in your pocket and keep long term, no. Like a shirt pocket, not your pants pocket. That's going to melt every time. Don't do that. You'll ruin your pants. I know from experience. So, we'll get to the taste ranking. I gotta say, the taste is phenomenal. Despite the textural lackings, I mean, peanuts and chocolate, you just can't go wrong. I'm gonna give it a 9.1, about a 91%, so a low A-. You know, this is delicious. It's not some Swiss chocolate, but for what you're getting and for what the price you're gonna pay is, oh, it's worth it so much. In fact, I'm gonna finish the bar after this, the mini bar, after this video. So, the Mr. Good Bar, phenomenal choice. It's still my favorite based on taste. So there you have it. That was the miniature Hershey review. The Special Dark surprised me at how good it was. I'm not a dark chocolate guy, but that was delicious. I loved the texture of it. I felt like I could put it in a shirt pocket, go work, and it wouldn't melt. And I also actually appreciated the flavor. It wasn't that bitter toward the end. Usually a dark chocolate is just an absolute sucker punch, but that one was very well done. And it could be because it sat for a few weeks out. Maybe that had something to do with it. Maybe they changed the recipe since I've had it last. Who knows? But whatever Hershey's doing with that Special Dark is very appreciated. The Mr. Good Bar is still going to stand as my favorite out of this bunch, however. I just have so much nostalgia with the Mr. Good Bar, and it just tastes good. You can't go wrong with peanuts and chocolate. That's just an American classic. In fact, a worldwide classic. I won't be American-centric in this video. Might have a European audience someday. So, the regular Hershey, obviously it's the classic, the benchmark, reasonable score. Could have done better, you know. Like I said, or I might have said this in an outtake, but a good frozen Hershey milk chocolate tastes really good. I don't have the mini Hershey with almonds. That's also a very good taste. It's not in the package. I'll have to do that in a separate review, or maybe I'll review the full bar. But any chocolate with nuts is just good. But the good classic milk chocolate is delicious by its own, just not so much as the others. You know, you always have to have something that came before and was able to create a benchmark. You got to have a foundation, and the milk chocolate is still adequate to this day, even as a foundation. The crackle, the Nestle Crunch is still better in my opinion, but it is an adequate chocolate. You know, it's not something that I would go out and order, not order, but buy at a store. I'd probably leave many of them toward the end of the bag in the miniature. Maybe give them to kids trick-or-treating instead of saving them for myself. But they're not bad at all. Nothing wrong with them. It's just a personal preference. If you like Rice Krispies in your chocolate, perhaps you'll like it. It's an adequate chocolate. Any chocolate is going to taste well. It's chocolate. Everybody likes chocolate. Unless you're lactose intolerant, and then I don't know. It might be up in the air. So there you have it, the miniature Hershey's review. Please leave comments on what you'd like me to review next. And if you could subscribe or like, I'd greatly appreciate it. You can see my content as soon as it comes out if you hit that notification bell. And I hope to see you soon in the next review. Thank you. Meme review 6.9, 5.3, 3.2, 7.3, 8.5, 4.3, 6.1,